London, England, south of France, and all points between, they know about your man. Konnichiwa, ladies, when I'm out in Japan. I'm a Tokyo giant like Ichiro, I am.
Welcome to another edition of the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. We're here to help inspire you to go for it and live the lifestyle design of your dreams. Here's Rob.
Welcome to the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. I'm Rob Murgatroyd with GetJetSetMoney.com. And today we have Seth Hosko from SethHosko.com. Seth is a brand strategist that knows how to live lifestyle design. In fact, he's been to 28 countries. He's lived everywhere from Vancouver to Bangkok. And today, we're going to talk to him about how he pulls that off. So as you may be able to hear with some background noise, this man is living what he's preaching. He is a mobile entrepreneur. I got him to pull over into a coffee shop to answer my questions. Seth, can you hear me okay?
Hey, Rob, how you doing? Yeah, I think I can hear you okay.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's kind of just get right into it. I understand that you just got back from a mini retirement, we'll use Tim Ferriss's term, in Asia. And a lot of the people who are listening to this podcast would love to be able to take that kind of trip for, that amount of time. But they just either don't believe that they can or they don't have the money. You say what to that?
So actually I just got back from, I was living in Bangkok for a couple of months. I used to live there a couple of years ago, so I just went back to visit. But I've lived in maybe 4 different locations in the past year. A little bit in Asia, some time in Canada, a little time in the States. I do come across a lot of people that either wish they could travel or don't understand how I travel. And I do work at the same time. I don't save up and then spend. So, but I think, I tell anybody if they're making more than $40,000 a year, they can go anywhere they want in the world and pretty comfortably too. So it's really what we fill our lives with that make it possible or not.
All right, so let's kind of break it down for somebody who, wants to do what it is that you did. What do you think is the most important thing that somebody has to understand before they, step into a location-independent, global nomad, type of lifestyle?
That's a good question. I really think that people have to understand that travel isn't hard. It's not a departure from real life. It is real life. And I think when people travel, they think they have to bring a million things with them, or they have to, change their life in a massive way, and it becomes a huge undertaking. They'll try and take their whole life and package it into just, the trip they're doing.
Right.
But that's really not going to work. I mean, you can't take your car with you or your dog. You have to understand that being flexible with your location, you have to be light, not just with what you bring with you, but what ties you down to a location. I guess we'd say just light in general in your life. So, car payment, gym membership, cable bill, whatever you have, it's going to be difficult to lug your whole life around with you if you want to be mobile, because that's exactly what you're doing. So, whether you want to travel for a whole year or just frequently on long weekends, your lifestyle has to constantly be ready for it.
So this last trip that you took to Asia, was this your first long-term, we'll call it mini retirement trip that you took?
No, I guess trying to think of where I've been and how long in the past, it all kind of blurs together, because I don't view my life as hey, I'm working in a location and then a mini retirement. I view it all as I live a pretty flexible life in general. I don't hold down anything that keeps me tied to a location as much. I do in some regard, but I don't have a mortgage I'm carrying or something like that.
Right.
I lived off and on in Asia a couple times. I've lived in Vancouver, in California, in Europe. So I guess maybe 3 or 4 times I've moved to another location for a long period of time. It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because people ask me where I'm from, and I seriously don't have an answer, and I kind of wish I did, because once I start saying, well, I lived here, here, and here, their eyes glaze over and they don't care. So it's
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so you're from PA, but
Yeah.
when did you sort of make the decision that you were going to leave PA and you were going to try and live globally? When did that start? What age were you and where'd you go?
Well, I was about 18, and it was time to go to college, and I wanted to go to college somewhere different. So I went out to California, and then I lived out there, and I just ended up meeting a lot of people that like to travel a lot, and just have been all over the place. And I guess being near major cities like New York and San Francisco, I started to meet some really cool people. So that's when I decided to go to Asia. I took a year off of school actually, and worked over there. That's I constantly just kept meeting people that they weren't on the trajectory of like getting married out of college and working at a bank or just having some stable income job with a 401k.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not knocking on that at all, but I wasn't about to just buy a house with a picket fence and get a dog and that sort of thing. So there's so much of the world I wanted to experience, and I just think meeting people like that, when I was 18, 19, 20, kind of set that off.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Hang on just one sec, and we'll be right back.
If you want to learn how Rob and Kim leverage technology to create the income, time, and freedom to regularly travel from one jet-set destination to the other using their proven system, you can claim your risk-free trial membership to Jet Set Money by going to getjetsetmoney.com. Here's Rob.
Did you have any fears or trepidations when you first set out, taking that first trip? Was there any part of you that was like, what am I doing? Or were you like, game on, let's go?
Well, I guess when I first started just, traveling around and wanting to live in different places for a certain amount of times, there was a huge fear of the unknown. I remember the first time I went to Asia when I was like 15 or 16, I went to China. And, it was just such a bizarre experience because it was nothing I've ever known. But I think, there's really nothing to be afraid of. I mean, I've felt safer and more comfortable in parts of Asia than I ever have in Philadelphia or New York or Boston or places in the U.S. that we think that are so safe or, so easy. So I think most recently it's just been just maybe running out of money or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this past year I was running a company with a business partner and a good friend of mine, David Walsh. Actually, I think you had him on your podcast.
Yep, yeah, I have.
So, but luckily we were able to land solid clients. So, running out of money really wasn't an issue.
So out of all the